Hey everyone, this is Brad from the Dark Sliders podcast. This is our news update for July 28th, 2015.
So we're talking about news now, and so some of the big news that came out this week. This kind of came out a little bit last week, so we're a little bit late on this one. But Street Fighter V, so all of the DLC is unlockable in game. From what I understand, how the system works is like you get sort of two currencies in game, which is always a bad thing. Which is like, this is the currency that you buy, like that can buy like stupid stuff, and here's the currency that actually buys real things. And I from how they explain it, like you can earn both currencies in game just by playing the game, which sounds really good. Which results in you can actually earn tokens to get all of the DLC unlockable in the game. But they've been really coy on how much you actually have to play the game to get the coins that mean anything.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be where this lives or dies. This is an awesome idea if it's doable. And I think that's going to be where the hiccup with this is going to come in, is Street Fighter is such a hardcore game for a lot of people that yes, there's going to be those 1,000 or 2,000 people that oh yeah, I can earn that DLC in a day.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be people like me who just like to play I'll play through the story mode a couple times, just play online for a bit, get my butt kicked, and call it good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to earn everything.
Yeah, I don't think people expect you to earn anything. I think they actually do expect you to buy the characters. I think this is just a way that in theory it should reward everybody for playing the game, but in actuality it's probably only going to reward the really hardcore player. But I don't know. I think right now this is a good idea, but until they actually announce whatever that ratio is or matches or whatever the actual numbers are, that's going to come down to this is the best idea ever or this is effing terrible.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it does come out just terrible and it's once you win 100 matches, you get a costume, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a good precedent to set, I think. And it's something that I don't feel has been tried very often.
No, yeah.
I'm sure there might be an example of something, but I can't come up with one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see this being something that, in the future, okay, this is a really good way to do DLC. If you are really into this game, you can earn it. Because I feel that's what games used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to Tekken 3 and some of just the nonsense you had to do to get some of those characters.
Oh yeah, Dr. B and Gon and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to go through a ridiculous amount of shit to get those guys unlocked. I love the idea of you can still do the ridiculous amount of shit to get this unlocked, or you can give us $1. That, to me, is a great way to do fighting game DLC, because that way it is rewarding the players who just want to be able to play through this game and unlock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also giving those people that, I just want all the characters so when my friends come over, I can have all the characters.
Yeah.
I could see this being a very good system. It's just a matter of, like you said, what is it actually going to come down to when they announce specifics?
Yeah. Actually, I think the thing that was kind of cool, I think a lot of people were kind of focused on this. I think the cooler part of all this was that you only had to buy one copy of Street Fighter V to get all of the versions.
Oh, God, yes. Which is awesome.
Yeah, because, the Street Fighter is I think it definitely was at least one of the first games to start being notorious of having a million versions of it. So the fact that you only have to get Street Fighter V, and even if you don't get the characters, you still get to play Ultra Street Fighter V and Super Street Fighter V and Super Ultra Street Fighter V with one copy for free, from what I understand. And that is pretty cool.
And I like that just because, and they talked about this in their press release, of fracturing the audience.
Yeah.
And that's such a big issue, because I know I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan, but I own Street Fighter 4. I don't own Ultra Super. Don't own Super, but I feel right now if I were to put in just plain old Super Street Fighter 4, there would be no online audience at all for that.
No, yeah.
But if I put in Ultra, there's, thousands of players right now.
Yeah, I think you might even be 2 versions behind or something like that now.
I have I bought Street Fighter 4 on release day 5 years ago or whenever it first came out. So I have that version and that version only. Because I don't rebuy games.
Would you mind if other games did this? Would you like if something like this was say for Madden or FIFA or NHL?
Yes.
Yes, you would like it, or yes, you would mind and you would not like it.
I think I would like it. It would depend on how they did it. I'm not super into some of the more hardcore fighting games where there's minor tweaks that people think change the entire balance of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel I'm speaking from more of a casual fan of that and more of a hardcore fan of sports games. So we talked about this in our last episode where the subtle tweaks in sports games I notice a lot, I feel like to me, as long as they still did those, because I feel like a lot of that would then just get into the like, oh, we're just doing a roster update, which is what a lot of people think sports games iterations are when they're are to a point, but not completely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think if they still did like, hey, you buy the $60 game, and maybe that's good for 2 years, and next year we'll just add in some kind of new feature. You know what I mean? And whatever
Oh,
we decide
yeah.
to add in next year will be there.
So like 2017 would be like 2016 1.5 sort of thing, and then like
Yeah,
2018 would be like the full new version.
yeah. That will never happen because EA makes a shit ton of money off these games.
You'll still pay $60 for NHL every year too. So
I have paid $60 for every I've owned every Madden since Madden 64, and I've probably paid $60 for each one.
and you will still continue to do that.
Actually, I think PS2 games only cost $50, so I paid $50 for each one, and then $60 for each one. So,
Yeah.
and NHL has been the same for about the last 8 or 9 years. So anyway,
Yeah.
they know. I think they know they can get my money that way. I think Street Fighter probably has a bit of a bigger issue with that, just because I don't think the audience for Street Fighter is as big.
Oh yeah. It's like you don't have to just like being a really casual football fan is like not a hard thing to do. Being a casual fighting game fan, much less a hardcore fighting game fan, is like really narrowing your audience.
Yeah, because I mean, I would say I'm a casual Street Fighter fan, and I will not buy an updated version of Street Fighter. I have Street Fighter 4.
Because it doesn't matter as much to you. I can understand that. So yeah, I think this is a good way to bring just everybody on board. Again, this is all like, we'll see when the numbers actually come out if this is all good or if this is all horrible. So real quick news, Del Toro and Kojima are still working on something.
Something, not Silent Hills.
It's not Silent Hills. I'm thinking it's just going to be a short film or a movie or something, because Kojima like is always whining he wants to do a movie. It seems like Guillermo del Toro could actually do that instead of
How many video games has Guillermo del Toro been attached to at this point? Is it
only two that I know at least two, because Silent Hills and then Insanity. I gotta imagine there's another one in there too.
Those are the two that come to my mind, but I feel like I'm forgetting one.
Yeah, so do I. I do imagine there's. But that's what I'm saying. Like Kojima doesn't have a team, and Guillermo del Toro has like any movie he would like. He can make. He's making Pacific Rim 2. Like he can make whatever he wants.
Yeah, I feel like if it's a movie, I don't give a shit at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a Guillermo del Toro game is much more interesting than a Hideo Kojima movie.
Yeah, I feel like a Hideo Kojima Guillermo del Toro movie is just going to be a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah, with like I don't know, some weird military shit. Like I don't think Kojima could improve Guillermo del Toro movies, but I think Guillermo del Toro could definitely improve Kojima nonsense.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put that.
Yeah, actually, what I would really like is that they did like not PT necessarily, but if they did like another sort of small thing like that, I would love a small like a short film game, kind of like PT or something.
And I mean, I could see them doing that too. I mean, just a small team, something really subtle. Just I think that's a lot of Guillermo del Toro stuff is kind of more that subtle aspect. Not necessarily his more well-known things like Hellboy and Pacific Rim, but some of his smaller films.
Yeah, like Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone and stuff. I would still like to see it. What a 3D, what like a monster to fight a monster that Guillermo del Toro created.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just a quick one. They're working on something. That's like pretty much the entire news.
I think that just came from an interview. Somebody said, "What do you think about Silent Hills?" And he was just like, I'm kind of disappointed we can't do it. Me and Kojima are still working on something though, and that was like it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So Half-Life 3 just doesn't seem to be happening. It seems like, although to be fair, this isn't really news. This kind of came out recently I guess somebody at Valve had finally spoke up and said, like, there's only 10 people working on Half-Life 3. There's no real story done. There's no real gameplay getting done. And I get it. I kind of get it. Like, I don't see like, if I was Valve, like, why would I ever work on Half-Life 3?
Yeah, that's not where their money is at this point.
No, it's not even close to where their money. They're making like billions on other stuff. Although I think that one of the more interesting things that came out of this was they actually directly referenced the backlash from Mass Effect 3 is one of the reasons why they didn't want to do Half-Life 3. I thought that was the most interesting aspect of all of that, because I think that now, because it's so easy to like just say your opinion out loud to a lot of people, that especially when it comes to video games, like people tend to like overreact like a shit ton. Like Mass Effect 3 did not have a good ending. Did Mass Effect 3 have a death threat sending ending that had like that was worth like having like a million people call like the developers like assholes and stuff? Like, no, absolutely not. I can see why Valve would want to avoid something like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like those are very different games. I understand that, but then do your game right. You know
Oh
what I mean?
god,
Like,
damn.
God, that sounded really shitty.
Yeah, that
For
sounded really shitty.
to be fair, I have no problems at all with Mass Effect's ending. So,
Oh, weird.
okay, not no problems. It was a ending. Like it was kind of like a oh well okay, we can move on now. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a God I hate this, God I hate this. But anyway, like I don't know. I understand that. Like I just I also feel like this is getting to the point where it's like the audience for Half Life is so far gone at this point.
Hey, 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 we are still a tried and true fan base.
Okay, yes, I will agree with that. But like I don't know. I feel like it's almost like Shenmue 3 at this point. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
like it's gonna hit that cult group really, really hard,
Yeah.
and then like a lot of mainstream people are gonna be like, you know what I mean? Because think Half Life 2 Episode 2 was what, like 2005?
2007.
So 8 years ago was the last reference of anything Half Life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that puts your audience in a really weird spot because like the people who played Half Life 2, I mean Episode 2 even, you figure if they were 13 when they played that are now 21. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like your audience is aging. Like it's gonna be that Shenmue 3 cult appeal. Like the main like not necessarily
Mhm.
the main, but like a big group of gamers is like that 13 to like 25 range. I feel like.
Yeah, and like most of the other people like just don't even care anymore. Like just kind of grown past like not playing video games anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's just gonna have that cult appeal at this point. So it's like I don't know. I'm curious to see like if it ever happens. I'm just curious to see what comes of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of wish that they would just give it to somebody else to do. Like I don't know, Valve to me like Valve doesn't actually have to do Half-Life 3, especially not the Valve that's there now. Like I feel like there's like plenty of other talented teams that could probably do a damn good Half-Life 3. It just doesn't necessarily have to be Valve. I don't know if Valve would ever give up their baby to do that, but they don't seem to be playing with their kid. They seem like have like they like forgot they abandoned their kid like 10 years ago and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he's doing fine."
How many people are even left from the Half Life team? You know what I mean? That comes into play too.
Yeah, like I remember like one of the news articles that came out. That was like a really minor news article. We didn't even mention it, but like one of the like last remaining Half-Life 2 artists had just left Valve, like maybe in May or something like that.
Yeah. So it's like at this point, like even the people who are working on it, it's essentially a new team anyway. It's just gonna have the Valve logo on the front, which I mean, as a publisher, it would anyway. But
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm like, just I feel like there's probably some passion. There's some team out there who wouldn't mind like trying it out.
I think at this point it's just one of those things like let's put it to bed and just be all really excited in E3 in 4 or 5 years when it shows up like the Last Guardian did.
Yeah,
And we'll just
yeah.
all sit there and go like, yeah, nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares anymore. Oh shit!
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, exactly. There's a lot of yeah. Although to be fair, I was actually real quick on that Shenmue Kickstarter. The average is $91 per person. That thing like made a
Holy
lot of money.
shit!
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. Like I was thinking because someone I remember reading someone mention like on NeoGAF that was like there wasn't a lot of people who signed up for that thing and they spent a lot of money. I was like, no, that's not true. But yeah, like the average was $90. But
Damn.
that's that whole thing. Like that's like a small but passionate fan base, and like is Shenmue 3 made a lot of money, but it didn't really make a lot of pre-orders. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. I think depending on how well Shenmue 3 goes, will be like a lot of these like older franchises that need a lot of money to like be real sequels. I think that's when we're gonna see like if these things are actually worth it to do.
I don't know. I'm always curious about that, like resurrecting something 10, 15 years old, just because of that age difference and
Hmm.
that different stage in life. I mean, Half Life 2, I was, playing it in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I'm definitely not in high school anymore and married, like all this other junk. Like have an adult job. Like
Yeah.
I still happen to play video games, but I know a lot of people I was playing video games with in high school who don't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, and like to be fair, like Half Life like started in 1998. So like
Yeah,
you got to even go back farther than that. Like I mean, you were talking about like Half Life 3 as being the sequel to Half Life 2, but it's also the sequel to Half Life 1. So, but I also think this is all that's like it's it's like that. I think that's going to be a big question in the future, especially like the next decade or so. It's like, what do we do about an aging fan base? Like when most of our fan base is going to be like we were going to be in our 30s and 40s, or I mean, I might still be playing video games. I assume I will be. So like, what are games like AAA games going to be like designed for 40-year-olds? Like that, I'm actually really curious about. But that's a question we'll have to answer in the future. So next big news, I find this kind of interesting. I don't know if most of our listeners are, but Odin Sphere. Oh god, I'm gonna try to pronounce this.
Good luck.
Okay, Odin Sphere is the name of the original game. The new HD version is called Odin Sphere Life Dressier. Doesn't matter.
Lifaristifa.
Well, it actually does matter. The reason it has a stupid subtitle is because they're actually doing a lot to tweak this game. No, Brad, have you never heard of Odin Sphere, have you?
Nope.
Okay. So Odin Sphere to me was my first Vanillaware game. So Vanillaware, I'm not gonna say started on PS2, but they definitely popularized on PS2. And Odin Sphere was like one of their first like really big breakout games, and even then it was still sort of like a culty kind of game. What Odin Sphere is, it's a side-scrolling action RPG. Kind of, it was not similar to Muramasa. It's just a side-scrolling action RPG. Kind of one of the more interesting aspects of it was an alchemy system. And before you like lose your shit, because I don't like alchemy systems either, it was actually kind of cool because like what you had to do in order to do alchemy is you actually had to do it like on the battlefield while you were fighting. And how the alchemy worked is like you had seeds, and you'd have to plant different seeds next to each other or in combination with each other, and you grow different plants. So you'd actually have to, like, as the fight would go on, you'd have to like water your plant or like harvest your plant like in the middle of a fight.
That sounds complicated.
Well, it was actually really fun though. But if you needed health potions, what you do is you plant like health potion seeds, so they grow into health potions later.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah, or you could have like little turret versions of like plants. It was kind of like Plants vs Zombies is not the best way to describe it at all. But yeah,
so you're saying Odin Sphere and Plants vs Zombies are the same game?
Exactly. No, but it was kind of an interesting system. I remember it was like one of the few alchemy systems that like didn't annoy the shit out of me. And basically, it was just like a 2D fighting. It was just on a 2D plane. It was kind of like Muramasa, in which you just kind of fight. The fighting was not nearly as good as Muramasa. But my major complaint with this game, I remember as a kid when I'd read a review for it, it's kind of repetitive. So I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll go play it. I'll rent it. This was like literally the most repetitive game I think I've ever played.
Like in what sense?
Do you know how Muramasa is like a little repetitive?
Yes.
Muramasa is like, even as repetitive it is like lessons learned from Odin Sphere, and it's still kind of repetitive. But like the problem was, it's like you had to replay areas like over and over and over again. So there's like 5 characters you can play. I don't know how many characters. I'm gonna say 5, but that's wrong. There's like 4 characters you play as. So you play through the story as one character, and as you play through the story, you have to go through areas like multiple times. So now you play as a second character, and you go through pretty much those same areas, and then you get some new ones. So you end up playing over the same areas like 4 or 5 times throughout the game. And it's not even like different battles. It's like, because it's kind of like the same thing with Muramasa, where you have like individual arena screens.
Yep. So
it's kind of like that. So you play through that same arena screen like just over and over and over again. And it's really frustrating. But luckily, they did say they're going to change some stuff. And one of the things they actually did say, like specifically, is like, it's not as repetitive anymore. It's like, ooh, now I'm interested. So they actually said like one of the things that they wanted to change was that it would not be nearly as repetitive. And they said they're going to change the alchemy system a little bit. I don't remember it being like that bad though. I remember actually liking the alchemy system, so that actually has me a little worried that they're completely redoing the alchemy system, and they're changing the fighting a little bit, so it's a little bit more like Muramasa.
Yeah, I really liked Muramasa, so I'm curious just because of that.
Yeah, and the thing that I think that's going to be really awesome, this is coming out on Vita, and I think Muramasa was helped a lot being repetitive, but it was on Vita, so you could like kind of turn off when you wanted to, so it's like a really good like pick up and play and then drop because it was so repetitive. So I think it's going to really help this game not feel as repetitive, because it's now turning into a pick up and play sort of thing. Like I think this game like on a console probably won't be very fun, unless they do some like radical changes. But I think for a portable system, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Man, this is a Vita heavy episode for all 3 of you listening who actually have a Vita.
I like my Vita.
I love my Vita.
Yeah, I got mine for free though, so I can't really.
I paid for mine.
Like now I would probably buy one, but like would I have bought one like 3 or 4 years ago when I got it? No, probably not. But yeah, I have a hard time recommending Vita to friends. But if you have one, if you already do have one, there's tons of really good games for it. So for our final news, this one's a little weird. Well, it's not weird. This is actually pretty clear cut. Tomb Raider: Rise of the Tomb Raider. Is it really called Tomb Raider: Rise of the Tomb Raider?
I believe so.
That cannot be the title of that game.
I'm 90% sure. I definitely wrote that down, but I definitely might have just made that up when I wrote it down. But I'm 90% sure that's the name of this game.
Oh, it is. It's called Tomb Raider: Rise of the Tomb Raider. Weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
what a shitty name.
Yeah, that's not a good name. Could have just called Rise of the Tomb Raider and just called. Wow, dang. Anyway,
But if you don't have a Tomb Raider first, people will get confused because then when it's going alphabetically on the store, it'll have to be under R.
oh, that is. Damn, that's a good point. Maybe should change this. Probably should just change the subtitle just in general then.
Tomb Raider, comma, Rise of.
No, see that's see well that's how you would do it alphabetically and still be okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
so when this game was announced, there's a lot of confusion over like, okay, is this exclusive? Is this not exclusive? It kind of is. It kind of isn't. And finally, we got our answer. In November, it's coming out for Xbox One. In early 2016, so I assume still in winter or maybe spring, it's going to come out to PC. And then it's not coming out till holiday 2016 for PS4, which I assume will be like whatever the Ultimate Edition with all the DLC and stuff. So the fact that it's coming out a year after Xbox One, I think is like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I think the most surprising thing about this news is how long it took them to say this.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part to me is, I mean, because this was announced, last E3, I think?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. Yeah.
So, I mean, this has been, quote-unquote, an exclusive Xbox game, in quotes, for, over a year now, and they're finally I mean, 4 months from release, yeah, next year.
Yeah, I feel like it was never really set in stone when the PS4 version was coming out, to the point where I think like they just weren't allowed to say when it was coming out because they didn't know. Like it could have been coming out like I don't know, like really soon after the Xbox One version, but like oh crap, we actually do need to make this like an exclusive. Like because people keep asking us all the time is when's this I mean like the only question anybody they got, like the Square got was like when's this coming to PS4?
Yeah, and I think that was just, the way they did it was just kind of that, we're going to give you this little piece of information, we're going to hold the rest back, and everybody kind of got really suspicious of, oh, timed exclusive. A lot of times that time is, a month.
Yeah.
Especially for, indie games and things like that. And this is kind of the first time a big-name franchise has done this, so everybody kind of had that, well, what the hell does that mean? You know, what the hell? So I think it was just kind of weird they played it like that. I think if they would have just come out and said, it will be Xbox exclusive for a year. When they announced it, I think it would have gone over much better just because people, you wouldn't have put the conversation on when is PS4, you would have put the conversation on, okay, here's the game.
Yeah, you know they should just do I think what they do with Sony conferences, they just say first on.
Yeah, yep.
Just do that. That's fine. It's when's the PS4? It's well, it'll come out eventually. It's okay. That just ends the questions. But I think because they're so wishy-washy about whether or not it's exclusive. And I really don't think the Square crew, I don't think a deal was made yet of when it was going to be on PS4. Okay guys, how much are you guys going to pay us to make this super exclusive?
I think even when it was announced, I don't even know, how far into production they were with it, if they even had a firm release date for the Xbox version. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's going to be exclusive here. We don't know when it comes out on Xbox, so we definitely don't know when it's coming out on PS4.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, because I'm sure. Yeah, I guess that's true because they don't know whatever month is coming out, and then they can't. They don't know how many months they're going to add onto that to get the PS4 version.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there was some kind of deal that okay, both systems need a holiday release, so maybe it was a Xbox gets this holiday, then the next holiday season is, you know what I mean, or
yeah. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't coming out on PS4 because I thought I had thought this original deal had all gone down because they didn't want to fight Uncharted during the holiday season.
And this is now my favorite point is that 2016 Tomb Raider comes out for the first time on PS4. And that holiday season is when Uncharted comes out for PS4.
Yeah, they had an opportunity to avoid that. I felt like this whole deal to begin with was because they were afraid of Uncharted 4. And now Uncharted 4 got delayed. It's well, shit, they could just release it on PS4 and there's and people are definitely going to buy it because there isn't an Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I feel like you're really cannibalizing your own sales there because you're going, okay, the only real game that has any similarities to ours, or not any similarities, but the game that basically are kind of the same thing, we're going to put it on the same console for the first time right here. I don't know whose idea that was, but somebody needs to think things through.
Yeah. I think their plan originally was good. I think their plan originally was to avoid it, but now that it's no longer there to avoid, it now seems like a really bad plan.
I really hope there was just some like backdoor dealing inside Microsoft where it's like, oh shit, there's rumors Uncharted's getting delayed. Let's make Tomb Raider release the same time just to fuck with Sony.
Yeah, yeah, no.
My only question with this, and you brought it up, is I am going to be totally okay with this because I don't have an Xbox One, so I can't buy it this year unless I decide to break down and get one,
Hmm.
which probably won't happen. But my only question with this is if it comes out just as Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Ultimate Tomb Raider Edition, just so you can throw Tomb Raider in the title one more time.
Yeah.
If it comes out initially on PS4 as that, I am going to be so happy. Like, I would rather have that.
Yeah, that's like almost an entirely other discussion on like, do you wait for the ultimate version where you get all the free DLC and stuff? But yeah, I feel like PS4 owners aren't going to feel totally ripped off because they are going to get that ultimate edition. If they don't get that ultimate edition, that's going to be really silly. But yeah, it's like because and especially like Sony could definitely jump on board those guys. Like, oh yeah, we now have the ultimate edition. Like they lost the marketing on say the first version, but they're not going to lose the marketing on the whatever the ultimate edition is.
Yeah, and frankly, like, if I'm going to buy something, I'd rather have all the DLC. I mean, that's saving me. I mean, essentially, that's saving us $30 over the Xbox version.
Yeah. I mean, it's still coming a year later. I would still say it's definitely a win for Microsoft for getting that exclusive. I think honestly there probably would not have been nearly as much discussion about it if they're just like really upfront that this was not an exclusive. This is a first on Xbox One.
Yeah, and I think somebody even, like, screen grabbed, like, it's not a PowerPoint, the slide or whatever that was behind Phil Spencer when he announced this, and it just said exclusive on Xbox One. There was no first on or timed exclusive. It was straight up exclusive.
Yeah, it said exclusive spring 2000. It said exclusive date. Yeah, but it like kind of insinuated that it was an exclusive, but no, it's like actually we might it was just for that year. It's like, you guys come on. But so, to be fair, Sony was also doing a lot of that during that E3 as well. They were doing a lot of like backhanded like what does exclusive mean and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
definitely think we need to shift the vernacular to first on. I think that
yeah.
there is an exclusive and there is a first on.
All right, so I guess that does it. That just about does it for our latest episode. If you guys liked what you heard, you can always follow us on Twitter at darksliders_pod. We're also on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, whatever you're listening to us on. You can probably subscribe to us on. So that was our whole episode. Hope you guys liked it. I guess we'll be here next week.
Bye.